Hello and welcome to Hard Copy, the program where we bring you the people behind the news. I'm Maokbe Ogun. Well, tonight we turn our attention to politics. Now, since July, when the Supreme Court declared the Ahmed Makarfi Caretaker Committee as the authentic leadership of the People's Democratic Party, the PDP has been making every effort to get its act together, mend its house, and get the party moving forward. However, it may be tough business as the party wants to stick with its zoning formula, portioning the presidency slot for 2019 to the north and the chairmanship of the party to the south, an arrangement that's already been threatened by the declaration of one of the governors of the southwestern state who's thrown his hat into the ring for the presidential slot. Now, as if that's not enough, only today, the headlines on the front page of a national daily reports a former head of state, General Abdulsalami Abubakar, as saying the PDP has failed as an opposition party. Tonight, I speak with one of its founding fathers, who is vying, alongside many others, for the chairmanship of the party. Professor Tunde Adeniran was a former Minister of Education and an ambassador and plenipotentiary of Nigeria to Germany. Well, Professor Adeniran, you're welcome to Hard Copy.
Thank you very much. Welcome.
Well, I'm sure you must be conversant with what, the papers of today, and you must have seen this particular headline, Abdulsalami, PDP has failed as an opposition party. What did you make of it when you saw that statement?
I read it, and my reaction was that what the general and former head of state was saying is not the only one who has said it. Many of us have observed that as an opposition party, there was need to do more than what was being done. But we have to be mindful of the fact that over the months, at least for the past over a year, the party has been involved in internal dispute resolution, so much diversion, so much distraction, that we were not able to focus essentially on what we should be doing as an opposition party. But you could see that since then, since the resolution of the internal crisis and the Supreme Court judgment, we've been getting our acts together, we've been becoming focused and addressing the issues the way they should be addressed.
So if I get you clearly, what you're saying is that you agree with this statement?
I agree with the statement to some extent. It was a fairly objective statement, remark of someone who was passionate, who was concerned, who felt that we ought to have been doing certain things. And we ourselves, we realized that there are certain shortcomings here and there, which we are trying to address. And we have been addressing them since then.
Was that why you would say you have also been silent on many issues that, you might have ordinarily spoken up about?
No, there are so many issues that we have been speaking about. But as a party, now there are some policy focus. When we address some issues, we look back, we look inward, and we realize that within us, there were certain things that we needed at that time to get right before we can be speaking. We had a leadership at a point that really did not care about what was going on at the National Center. That was during the period of the Ali Modu Sherif and so forth. So that was why some of us, even the concerned stakeholders, felt that, look, we cannot have this. We must really challenge this. And many party people, in fact, the majority of party members felt that, look, there was need to really change what was going on at that time. And of course, when you look over, either you do some content analysis of the media, you see that there were voices being raised against some of the policies, lack of action or inaction, lack of sensitivity of the APC government that was ruling us, still ruling us. And we believe that this cannot just go that way. But at the same time, there was no way we could have a coherent and respectable voice unless we get it right within ourselves.
Granted, but then when you talk about the individuals whose voices were heard, yours wasn't one of them, was it?
Of course it was. If you read some of the papers, I issued personal releases, and of course I appeared on radio and television in different parts.
Criticizing what policies specifically?
A number of policies. By virtue of my background and experience, I realized that the way we were handling a number of things, particularly the security issue, the educational sector, and of course the economy, the security situation, I felt that we had to apply a holistic approach. It isn't just putting down rebellion or terrorism through physical force alone. You really have to reorient the people. You have to carry the people along. You do not win a particular war or battle and creating lines for future battles unless and until you carry the people with you, you sensitize them, and you get them to key into what was being done. You will not be defeating anything.
But your party is beginning to show a bit of optimism, though. I mean, here on the same paper, we see the current chairman of the caretaker committee saying we'll defeat APC in 2019. And quite a number of people are looking forward to your convention in December of this year.
Yes.
Now, for some people, they believe that the PDP has to shed a particular toga, which is the toga of corruption, which is the allegations leveled against it. You were a member of the Jonathan Sambo presidential, in fact, I think you were Deputy Director General of that campaign organization.
Yes, I was. Yes, I was.
Why do you think you lost the elections then?
We lost the election because so many mistakes were made. Certain steps ought to have been taken that we did not take. And from within, I keep saying it, and I will keep repeating it, that election was lost because the PDP defeated itself. When you look, for instance, nationwide, you have 8,809 words, and out of this, more than 580. In fact, I put it about 810 words, 5,810 words are controlled by the PDP. The majority is there for us. That type of party should not have gone into an election and lose, because this thing is a game of numbers. But because so many things went wrong, you mentioned earlier when you were talking about corruption. The worst form of corruption is political corruption, because it pollutes every other thing. It soils the very heart, poisons the very heart of the political process. We had problems in the past, problems of imposition, problems of impunity, problems of lack of total commitment to the goal and direction of the party. And of course, some betrayal, which occurred. So we could see ahead that danger was looming, and we drew attention to it. But at that time, the time was too short, really, to really address some of those
But you
issues.
still accepted to serve?
At the time I accepted to serve, I expected that there were certain conditions, irreducible minimum conditions that would be in place. And we thought that a number of things would be done. We had a very committed, a very good team. But one of the things that happened was this. We had less than 6 months to package and work out and win the election. A number of things that ought to have been there before were not there, but you could still optimize a situation if you cannot maximize it. When we took over, we realized that there were some pockets of operations here and there, not directly under us. That was not enough to disable activities and so forth.